No success, dreams in the making. I grinded for it, seems like an eternity. Now I know what it takes to make it. EYG the label, EYG the brand. EYG the label, and EYG the brand. Just elevate your grind. Exclusive young G's, put the city on our back. Grinding through the mud, climb up out the strong. Elevated status on done. EYG the label, EYG the brand.
Yeah, welcome to the Eyg Roundtable. I am Jock McKissick, one of your three hosts. I'm joined by Representative Jeremy Gray and Jizzle James. So this is new for everybody that's tuning in. This is our new podcast that we decided to do. I'll start by introducing myself and who I am for those of you who may not know. You may just be tapping in. So, like I said, I'm Jock McKissick. I'm originally from Opelika, Alabama, born and raised. Raised by Cynthia Diane Smith, single mom. Grew up on Edmond Avenue. I think that's, Jeremy, that's where you live right now, right?
Yeah.
He lived on Edmond. You know, Edmond used to be a little rough back in the day. But, yeah, so I was born and raised in the O. Grew up loving sports, playing sports. Ended up going to Clemson University on a football scholarship. I grew up with these brothers here. We all graduated in class of 2004 and remained close friends throughout life. So, yeah, that's just a basic introduction of who I am. Jeremy, tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy Gray. I'm also from Opelika native. I grew up in the Jeter community on Chester Avenue, if anyone knows where that at. And a village raised me, man. I had my mom. She was a single parent, but it was a village. My grandma, aunties, and uncles. My grandmother has 8 children, and so 2 sets of twins. So you kind of can see how that was growing up and that family dynamic. Sunday dinners every Sunday, every holiday we're celebrating. And so I just came up in an environment where it was kind of, you had to be tough. Fish. You're going to fish, you're going to swim, or you're going to sink. And I just kind of, through that experience, it really developed my athletic skills. And I went on to play sports in high school, 3-sport athlete in high school, went to North Carolina State on a football scholarship. And me and Jock played each other every year, and we lost every year. And so that's one memory. Hey, but I used to be balling out though, so I can't complain about that.
The boys hated to play you, I can tell you that.
I did my thing, right? Yeah. So I got a shot to play in the CFL, and after that, I got into politics and more of community involvement, community.
We'll get on that later. We'll get on that later.
Things of that nature.
Don't give them too much. Don't give them too much, Gus.
It's just an introduction.
Don't give them too much. Not yet. All right, Jizzle.
Jonathan, aka Jizzle James, man. Like them boys already introduced me. I was class 2004, Opelika High School, Opelika, Alabama. We've been down over 25 plus years now. Man, we've been like Jeremy say. I grew on the south side. The Jeter. I grew up on Jeter, so Chester and Jeter was right down the street. Like that's like a 2-minute walk basically.
0.4 miles.
Yeah, and so when he say we grew up in the village, man, we definitely grew up in the village, man. All of our mamas know each other. People that all ran in the same circles. Aunts, uncles who went to school together, classmates. So shout out to Ampex. All of them worked at Ampex.
Yeah, good old Ampex.
Uniroyal. Shout out to all of that, man. But
DP.
DP, diversified. What they call diversified, something like that.
Yeah.
But man, just that's me, man. Doing music now, man. Play ball. It's a lot to the story, but y'all gonna find out more as we get into more about ourselves.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, baby.
Yeah, welcome to the round table. So after those introductions, we'll kind of segue into what we're all doing now. I know, Jizzle, you started, after you graduated. We all graduates of college, by the way, NC State, Benedict, Clemson. You started off doing marketing, but music was always kind of the underlying thing of what you really wanted to do. And you got into music. What, it's been 6 years now?
No, it's 5 now.
5?
5, yeah.
Yeah, 5 years. So
Yeah.
he's been doing the music for 5 years. Jeremy, like he said earlier, he was giving y'all the tea that, he got into politics and he was selected as the state representative of, 83?
Yep, 83.
District 83 in Alabama. This is his second year now, right?
Third.
This your third? Ooh, that boy going into year 3, baby. He's going to year 3 as being a state representative. And I myself, outside of, just doing stuff in the community as far as, motivational speaking, etc., what I do as a job is I'm an actor. And, you bring 3 guys together from the same place, same foundation, like you said, raised by a village, all in Opelika, Alabama, a town of about 20,000 when we were growing up. Now it's about 30. And we've all branched off and done different things and are, rightfully so successful in those things just because of the foundation that we've had. And we all came together about what's EYG? What year did it start, brother?
2015.
2015. Jeremy brought us all together, and we all had this motto of telling each other, you got to elevate your grind. And he brought us all together and kind of put it into motion, into creating a brand and something that would be bigger than all 3 of us collectively. So talk about EYG for a minute, Jeremy.
So like Jock said, we like everybody else, we do like group texts and we motivate each other, we laugh, we horseplay around. It's just like locker room talk, right? And so this concept kept just sticking in my mind, like elevate your grind. I'm like, man, that's catchy right there, man. And it just stuck with me. I couldn't like let it go. I'm like, man, we got to do something with this. And so, Jock was like, man, let's do a video. Let's do a commercial. Yeah. I said, well, shoot, man, let's do one. And so we did a commercial, and it turned out dope. And like still to this day, when we post it, people like, hey man, these boys got a real commercial. Like they really legit, right? And so from there, as we kind of talked about what we wanted to do with it, we weren't really trying to get into clothing because none of us know about fashion like that besides wearing clothes.
Hey, yeah, you better get
but we don't know about fabric and all those things.
Yeah, right.
And so I had an idea that I was just going to create a hoodie and just give it to my homeboys and see what happened. And then from there, we started a clothing line. And we wanted to do things from film to clothing to training to music. And we really wanted to be an entertainment hub. And so just where we are right now. And so I think that this podcast is just addition to what we were already doing. And I think it really serves a purpose to all of our platform, right? Because we're all in a way, we're entertainers, but at the same time, we're like public servants, right? And Absolutely. So I think that it kind of embodies what Elevate Your Grind is. And we all have a story of coming from an impoverished area, getting out of that, and then finding hardship in life, right? And people don't understand, just because you make it out the hood, you don't always just make it. It's still trials and tribulations, it's marathons, it's all those things. And so we're in the thick of it, right? We had a career in sports, and now we're trying to have a career in life, and we're just trying to make the best out of it. So that's kind of like where that came from. And the E is backwards because we're all our unique self, and the Y is bigger because you only can believe in you. You're the only person that's stopping you from doing what you need to do. And then the G is for just being grounded, baby. You have to be grounded in this thing now. You can't get the big head. When your money get long and you get favors and stuff, you got to be grounded and understand where you come from.
Right on.
So
and God and energy for God.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's pretty much how EYG was started. And for the people in Opelika, they're pretty familiar with what we stand for and our goals and aspirations. And that's why they support. But for those tuning in who maybe have seen the hashtag or seen our lives, you kind of know that's what we stand for. That's what we live by, EYG. So now that you know about that, the podcast, like, and it's hard for me to call him Jeremy, guys, because I grew up calling him Gutter. But, so if you hear Gutter, then you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to a representative, guys.
AKA.
So as the representative touched on, the EYG Roundtable Podcast was really always in the making. It was something that really our supporters and the people who love and pour into us kind of forced our hand with doing this, because in this time and day, a lot of people get their information, a lot of people tap in through social media, podcasts, etc. And us three are all different people with different ideas, but common morals and common goals. But hearing our three voices on one platform is unique, and especially what we all bring to the table ourselves, and also the type of people that we've connected with throughout our years of college and professional work. So this platform is going to be something extremely dope that I'm excited to bring to the people, and the guests that we'll bring on after post this episode. This episode was just an introduction about who we are, what we do, what we stand for, and just to give you guys a dose of what we'll be doing in the future. But the guests that we do bring on in the future will be from all different walks of life, and I think it'll be some people that you guys want to tune in and kind of get to know and just hear more so about those people than from looking in on the outside. So one of the things we'll do every week is we'll touch on news, like current news, what's going on. We'll touch on, what's going on in politics, because we have a representative with us. We'll touch on something that's happening in music, either this week or, the prior week, and we'll touch on what's happening in film, because I myself am in film, Jizzle is in music. And so, we have to touch on those things that we love. And we'll do those things before we bring on the guests, and then we'll touch back on those things while the guest is there. So first of all, with the news this week, of course, we got to talk about what transpired yesterday with Derek Chauvin being convicted, guilty on all three counts.
Right, yeah.
So I want to show a video for those who maybe didn't see it or see his reaction when it happened. I want to show that for you guys. Hold on 1 second.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. Verdict, count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. Verdict, count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:40.
Boom. So he was found guilty on all 3 counts.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys feel because I watched it live on CNN. I had a meeting with my manager, and we both agreed that we wouldn't start the meeting until the verdict was read. So I watched it live, and I personally I was shocked. I was like,
the first count.
I was like, after I heard the first count, I was like, what?
He was shocked. If you look in his eyes.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to show the video, because he was shocked. He was looking like, this ain't what we agreed upon.
It's real.
We didn't agree on this.
It got real quick.
Yeah, I thought he would get convicted of. I thought he would be guilty of maybe one of the charges.
Manslaughter. That's what.
Yeah, manslaughter.
Yeah.
I thought he would be guilty on manslaughter, because of the uproar and how many people were tuned in to what he did last year because of COVID. A lot of people seen that normally don't see what goes on in those cases, and a lot of people who jumped in that weren't black, people of other races, other backgrounds who jumped in, and they were like outraged about it. I figured he would be guilty on at least manslaughter and he wouldn't walk. Right. But when they said all 3, man, I was like, oh wow, this is a blessing. This is change. How did you feel about that, Jerry?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been around for 35 years, and I don't know that I ever seen anything of this magnitude where, even, the whole killing of George Floyd with his knee being on his neck, seeing those graphics and in this social media age, and then seeing the uproar that took place all over America. And then we come to this point where, in the back of your mind, you like, he's going to get off, right? They always get off. And this particular time, it was like, it was a win, right? It wasn't just a win for the George Floyd family. It was a win for every Black person, every person of color that felt like they've been marginalized or, experienced systemic racism or been murdered by the police, right? And so this was a win for everyone. I think it sets a standard for, what could happen if you don't do your job the right way, accountability, like you're saying. But it's still not deterring it from happening, right? So we still have a problem. It's still a crisis, but you have to take a win, right? You have to take the win. And I think this is a win and a step in the right direction. But as we see, it's still happening. There's law enforcement that think they're still above the law. But I think that they have to open their eyes. And now when they're doing things, they have to think about it because there will be consequences behind it. So I was especially glad to see it. A lot of people, even in the gallery in session, was cheering about the verdict, right? Because I think this is one of the first times that I know.
And tell the people what a session, like what.
So legislative session is basically what you see when you look on TV, and it's like Congress, and you see like the House of Representatives or the senators. They're in the well, and so it's like 105 of us in the state of Alabama as far as House of Representatives, and we sit in this well in this gallery, and we debate. We vote on bills, things of that nature. And so we have access to our phones and media and all those things. So when the verdict came through, we was on the floor. And so you heard a whole bunch of people like, woo!
Man, listen.
That
in itself is enough to realize that it was a step in the right direction.
That's right.
Because in that arena, in the state of Alabama, it was one of the harshest states when it comes to, what we're struggling to fight against here. To erupt and like cheers and like clapping and bro, that is wow.
Not everyone now.
I'm sure it'll never be everybody. It'll never be everybody. But the fact that it was some people, even some people, because at some point in time, I'm sure our ancestors who might have been the Jeremy Grays of their time were in the room, and they were afraid to show, excitement in times like that. So it's a step in the right direction. And with that being said, I want to show something else that transpired after the verdict was read that surprised me.
A jury in Minnesota found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts in the murder of George Floyd last May. It was a murder in the full light of day, and it ripped the blinders off for the whole world to see the systemic racism the Vice President just referred to. The systemic racism is a stain on our nation's soul. The knee on the neck of justice for Black Americans. Profound fear and trauma. The pain, the exhaustion that Black and brown Americans experience every single day. The murder of George Floyd launched a summer of protest we hadn't seen since the civil rights era in the 60s. Protests that unified people of every race and generation in peace and with purpose to say enough, enough, enough of this senseless killings. Today's verdict is a step forward. I just spoke with the governor of Minnesota, to thank me for the close work with his team. I also spoke with George Floyd's family again. Remarkable family of extraordinary courage. Nothing can ever bring their brother, their father back. But this can be a giant step forward in the march toward justice in America.
Yeah, bro. So did you get a chance to see that? Either of
I
y'all?
didn't see that. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I took
I
a
didn't
look
see
at
him.
it.
Yeah, I didn't see him talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that's big. It was big.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was gonna happen. I was just happened to be watching CNN and I just seen him pop up. I was like, hold on, let me see what President Joe Biden talking about.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, I was like, hold on now. Like, I just didn't expect to hear him get on TV and say that. Like,
All of that.
you know, sister, yeah, all of that. Because the video is 20 minutes long.
Okay.
And he goes into depth about you know, how this country has a long way to go, but this is a start to going where we need to go. And I just feel like those are the type of things that you need the commander-in-chief of the country to say verbally for people to fall in line when, you know, people like Representative Gray goes to a meeting or goes to session and you know, tries to get a bill passed for something that can better his people and their situations. So, you know, I thought that video was it was dope. What y'all think?
It definitely made a statement. I mean, you usually don't hear that, you know, you in politics sometimes, you try to be politically correct. You know, you try to say the right thing to kind of play both sides. And, you know, it's like the sandwich effect, right? You say something bad and something good and somewhere in the middle. But I think that he came out and really hit it on the head when he talked about, you know, everything that Black people went through and that this is just a stepping stone, right? This is not enough. And so he's the commander-in-chief, and he does have the ability to voice his opinion. And being that he has both the House and the Senate, he can start. He can't actually vote on the legislation, but he can send recommendations around reform and, you know, whatever you may call it. You know, some people say defunding, some people say reform, some people say we need to abolish the system, whatever it may be. I don't argue that. I just know that there have been things in place that's not equal to everyone, right? And we have to fix that. And so I just think about just by having conversations about it, he's in the right direction. He's able to do something that, you know, as a Black man, Obama couldn't do because he had to please everyone.
100%.
And so he has the ability now to be learn up under Obama, even though he's older and he's been in politics since he was like 28 years old. But you always can learn something. And then him having a Black and an Asian VP, Asian American VP, I think that he really hit it home. And a lot of times we want so much from our politicians and all those people, but those people have to be so politically correct and do the right thing because they, at the end of the day, they represent all people, the good, the bad, the ugly. But for him to come out and say what he said, I think that it really makes him a strong leader. And I think you can't really deny that since he got in office, he's really been hitting that pavement and doing what he can. You know, he won't do everything right. Nobody will. But he's doing a lot of great things.
I agree.
Definitely.
I think even the mere fact of trying to encourage unity is just enough. You know what I'm saying? Not just enough, but it's a big change from what we've had, you know, the past 4 years. So,
right.
Yeah, it's definitely encouraging and dope to see for sure.
Yes, sir.
Have y'all heard about Manhattan Beach and what's going on in Manhattan Beach right now?
I don't know. I heard about it, but I just know that it was some Black people that had a beach or something, right?
Yes.
And somebody took it, the county, somebody took it and they just gave it back. Yeah. That's all I know. I don't know anything else.
Yeah. So when I first moved to LA, and, you know, I was going around town, going to the beaches. One of my partners was like, man, you got to go to Manhattan Beach, man. You know, it used to be owned by Black people, et cetera. And I'm like, what? For real? So I went and I seen this sign and it said Bruce Beach. and it's a portion of Manhattan Beach that was bought by these black people back in the early 1900s, and it was taken from them. So recently, the county has decided to give it back. So here's a story. Here's that story right here. Hold on.
From nearly a century ago, officials in Los Angeles County are taking steps to return scenic Manhattan Beach property that was seized from a black family. And ABC's Zoreen Shah is right there this morning. Zoreen, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. A family bought this land about 100 years ago for under $2 grand. They were one of Manhattan Beach's first black landowners until that land was taken away. Look, this is a massive space. We are right by the beach. By some estimates, it's worth about $75 million. Now the county is trying to right this wrong. This morning, LA County taking the first steps towards correcting a centuries-old injustice.
We will change the state law to allow the family to get their land back from LA County.
In 1912, Willa and Charles Bruce bought the first of 2 Ocean View lots for $1,225. Experts say it could now be worth up to $75 million.
This was an injustice inflicted not just upon Willa and Charles Bruce, but generations of their descendants who almost certainly would have been millionaires.
County Supervisor Janice Hahn, an LA County native, saying she hadn't heard of the Bruces until Black Lives Matter activists protested at Bruce's Beach last summer. The Bruces, among the city's first black landowners, they created a beach resort for their community who were barred from local beaches due to segregation.
Bruce's Beach became a lively and flourishing resort.
Anthony Bruce is one of the last living descendants of Willa and Charles Bruce.
I did hear about this growing up.
For years, Willa, Charles, and their guests were targets of relentless racist attacks and harassment from white neighbors and the KKK.
That's why we moved away, but we didn't move away willingly. And that land was stolen from us because we would be millionaires today. If there's generational wealth that can be transferred or inherited, then there should be also generational debt that should be incurred and taken care of too.
In 1929, the city took the Bruce's property by eminent domain, citing the urgent need for a public park. But for decades, it sat empty. Today, LA County's lifeguard training headquarters sits on the Bruce's property.
I want people to take away from this that there is justice and that you have to pursue it. And your family can find peace for some of the wrongs that were committed against them in the past.
That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Intimate domain, man. That's shit hell, man. Like you think about what intimate domain really has done to black people in general. When you talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, we talk about the bombing in 1921, but in 1925 they kind of rebuilt it, and it was intimate domain that really killed their whole little shindig because they started running roads and bridges and building all different things. And I mean, you know, this story is unique because I would have never known like black people actually had a beach and all those things like that. But really, it's nothing new. I think there's a lot of black millionaires that we don't know about that had land and came up with ideas. And, you know, we talk about the super soaker water gun. There was a guy in Alabama who created that. So I think that it's unique because it's a beach, right? But I don't think the situation is unique. I think that black people are probably always had $1 million talents, and I think they've been stolen over the years. And so this is unique that he's the only one left, though. And so think about all those people, and then he's the only one left. I mean, you got to pay that man. Come on,
you got to. That was my thing about it. With it, exactly what you just said. It's not a unique case.
One of one.
Yeah, it ain't one of one.
It ain't no one off.
But I think it opens the door for other cases or other situations like this to change.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's so many, and those family members, those descendants, they know about it. And seeing this case will only help them because they're like, look what they're doing in Cali.
Right.
And I think that happened. It's California fashion, you know. You know, they had their racist errors just like everybody else, but now, you know, it's one of the most progressive places. Just seeing that, I was like, man, it's $75 million.
It seemed it seemed like he been knew about it. You know what I'm saying? And it just like she said, when they protested last year, then it got brought to the forefront for real. So it's like, okay, now we gotta listen to you. But before then, we were like, hey, you get up out of here with that.
Yeah, their whole family knew. Like it was one of them things that you know your granddaddy owned the beach out there in California. Right. You know, it had been passed down the whole time, but of course nobody wanted to hear. And then it's another video, what I think is like maybe his uncle, the dude that we just saw, and he was speaking on like how for years he's been trying to like fight back with Manhattan Beach. And Manhattan Beach is supposedly like one of the racist towns that still exists in Cali. And they're like, nah, we ain't trying to hear that. But 2020, once again, you know, everything that happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, it brought attention to those issues and people had time to listen, you know, that would normally wouldn't listen. So when a group of us went down and protested on Bruce Beach, you know, they were like, all right, what's going on? You know, let's see what we can do. But it's dope to see them, you know, make that transition to
put it on IG, then you bro.
Yeah,
I was out there with I said, man,
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but I was on the ground last year.
That's right. To me, it's just dope that they gave it back, man. I mean, people don't give stuff back, and then don't admit their fault once they do it. So to me, it's like, well, you got to at least commend them for saying it was wrong and trying to rewrite, you know, what they did wrong in the past, even though you can't get that back. But at the same time, it's the acknowledgement. And if they can compensate them in any kind of way, I think that's it doesn't help the situation as far as like, you know, mend the situation and that's going to correct everything. But that wealth that he's talking about can go to his children and grandchildren. And so I think that's important as Black people. We don't have generational wealth at a large capacity. So that would be great to see something where his family can have honor, you know, pay homage to him, you know, do all these things to actually put them in the spotlight and then get them folks their money, you know, at the end of the day.
On top of the day.
Exactly. So moving on. That was dope. I'll keep y'all posted on that because I'm gonna be following that story. So moving on to entertainment, you know what I'm saying? Jizzle James, this is your section. Did you watch the verses that took place, the 420 verses with Method Man and Redman?
Oh yeah, that was dope. And just like we were talking about, like the man, I don't really think a lot of like this generation kind of like understood like how artistry was, you know what I'm saying, in that point of time. Like with a lot of people getting hip now because DMX passed, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. They trying to go back and talk about that era of hip hop. But man, that was like that really looked like they ain't missed a beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like them boys, like they just dropped the album last week.
Like last week, man. And just to like they synergy, you know what I'm saying? Because I was just like if you just pay attention to certain parts, so you can see them like moving in the same direction. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking you up right where you left off. You know what I'm saying? I'm hyping you up a little bit more. I'm taking you to the next level type deal. So just the way they connect, man, the energy that they brought to the forefront, like it was good for hip hop, man, just to make, you know, this generation of, you know, artists or kids, you know, to get hipped on another genre of hip hop that kind of get lost along the way from where we at now. So I definitely think it was pretty dope, man. And you know, that versus thing really, you know, it bringing a lot of people awareness who deserve it at the same time.
Yeah,
definitely dope, man.
I agree. That's a good point you make. It's bringing awareness to people who deserve it because, like you said, like this in this microwave generation, of course, they only know about now. You know what I'm saying? and they don't care to go. Most of them don't care to go back and listen to those that came before. And my favorite verses happened on Easter. You know what I'm saying? The Isley Brothers versus versus Earth, Wind and Fire. You know, so to see young people, you know, tap in and listen to this music, and they're like, oh, this is Ice Cube song, or this Biggie, or this Rick Ross.
I ain't know who's on that.
Yeah, they ain't know that most of them songs were sampled. You know, just and to see that was dope. But back on Redman and Method Man, I think it was dope because you know, them boys like brothers, and they pretty much been doing it together for years. It wasn't really a versus, it was more so like a concert because, like you said, they were so in sync.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna show a video, man. Them boys was
hey man, you see my boy Red, man.
The
man that had no shoe on.
Shorty, a man for you anytime you need me. For real, girl, let's be in your world. Believe me. Nothing make a man feel better than with a crown that be down for whatever. There are few things that's forever. My lady, we can make war, make babies. Back when I was nothing, you made a brother feel like he was something. That's why I'm with you to this day, boo. No frontin'. Even when the skies were great, you would rub me on my back and say, it'll be okay. Now that's real to a brother like me, baby. Never ever give my pussy away and keep it tight, alright? And I'm a
the boys was so in sync, bro.
In sync, man. I'm telling you, bro.
I gotta go back and watch it. I missed that. You know,
it was effortless, bro. It was effortless.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was my boy put the cape on. My boy back there holding it for him. Like, like, bro, these boys like,
Method Man was like,
he performing it for. I'm like, this deeper than. Like, I'm gonna put you on a platform to help you keep shining. Like, it was like,
because Method Man popping right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Method Man,
bro. Everything. Power hit. You know, Godfather Harlem season 2 just came out. And he was in the first episode of that.
The Cowboy movie. He was in
that too. He was in that too. Concrete Cowboy.
Yeah, that's right.
So you know, Method, he getting his flowers right now. You know, he out here eating. So it was dope to see him, you know, really give Redman the platform and help him, you know, shine. Right. So it was definitely dope to see.
Yeah,
and transition over into my portion. You know what I'm saying? The film, TV and film. So one show that I've been watching, or I finished it now, and I think it's one of the most popular shows. It's the #1 show on Amazon Prime right now. And it's called Them.
There you go.
So for those of you who haven't seen Them, it's based on, you know, exactly what we were just talking about earlier. More about the migration of people migrating from the South in the 50s, early 50s. And this family migrated from North Carolina to Compton, which is LA, known as South Central now. And most of us know South Central to be, Compton to be in South Central, you know, a rough neighborhood. We know it from our rappers. Our rappers talking about Compton this, Compton that, and we know it to be, you know, a tough gang area, right? Well, Compton used to be all white, you know, in the 50s. Prior to it was all white. And you had these black families coming in, and you had bankers and all other type of people who were in higher places who control the money, who were doing redlining. You know, we all know what redlining. And if you don't know what redlining, they would basically design like a physical real line of different areas where only white people could live, only black people could live. And if they wanted to corrupt a certain area, they would move in a black family, and because it would be a trickle-down effect. Once one family moved in, the white families would automatically move out once they realized this wasn't going to change. So I want to show a clip from Them. Man, y'all got to check this out, man. Y'all got to check this out.
Look at this bullshit. Look at me. Look at me. We got 3 options. 1, I walk back in the house, I get my 45, I kill all these honkies. I go to jail. Look, I gotta be honest, I'm not in love with option 1. 2, I stay home with you.
was option 1 again?
Eyes on me. 3. I'm taking the girls to school, and then I'm going to work. All that we've been through. We got this.
We got this.
I know how hard it can be. This place, these people. They tried all the dirty tricks in the dirty trick book to get us out of here. The banks have a way of coming around.
I'm never gonna let anything on this earth hurt you.
So yeah, when a lot of people seen the trailer, they were like, "Oh, it kind of remind me of Us." You know, it's kind of Jordan Peele-ish. And the thing about that, the element of that is it basically adds in the element of them being hunted by their demons, or not just what's going on in the physical, what's going on mental with them, and you show exactly what they're experiencing. And a lot of it is mentally what they're dealing with from their traumas and their past with racism. So yeah, it's dope, man. It's shot very well, as you can see from the trailer. It makes people of color look real good. So that's one of my favorite things about it, how it was shot itself. And then also another one of my favorite parts is seeing my boy Ashley Thomas, who was the guy, the lead in that. I got a chance to work with him in 24 Legacy on Fox a couple years ago, and we developed a relationship. And we keep in touch. And while he was here shooting, you know, I was helping him like run lines, do etc. And this was like his breakout role. So that was kind of dope to see as well. So yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all check out them. If you haven't seen the Versus, Method Man, Red Man, Representative, you gotta go back and check that out. You know what I'm saying? Put the people, put the people in session on that.
Right.
Yeah. So now it's your time, Rep, to give us a health tip. Anything you want to share? One tip of the week.
I would just say, just in the spite of, you know, when we talked about the movie Them and the series Them, and we talk about just Black trauma and just mental health in general in the Black community, we have to think about how we start our day. You know, how do we project positive thoughts, and then how we go from projecting to basically deflecting the negativity. And at the end of the day, we need to reflect on our day and recap so we can be better people. And I think that one thing that we have to understand is the power of breathing. Just 10 breaths of inhale and exhale, just clearing your mind and just being one with yourself and just empowering yourself and finding clarity in who you are and what you want to be. I think that's the most powerful thing that you could do. You can pray as well, but I think clearing that mind and actually just being one with you and figuring out who you are, because you can't conquer the world until you conquer yourself. And so that's the tip of the day. Just having that mental health, man. It's big. It's a big thing. And for me personally. And so, you know, if you want to do yoga, mindfulness, you know, if you wouldn't even want to go see a therapist,
right?
Your mental capacity is your well-being. Because in the movie Them, that's what it was about, right? It was about them in the secular world, but in the spiritual world, hey, they were jacked up. And so you can't live being at war with yourself. You know, it's okay to be at war with the world. Yeah. Like my boy Nip said, but you don't want to be at war with yourself. And so that's the tip of the day as far as just taking care of your mental health.
Nipsey Hussle is Nip, guys.
All right.
yeah, bro. That's a great tip. I didn't know what you were gonna say. You know, I ain't talked to you about it, but yeah, that's a good tip. I agree 100% with that.
I didn't know neither, man. I just, you know,
it spoke from your heart, dog. It spoke from my heart, dog. It came out like that, dog.
Yeah. All right. Jizzle, any music you think the people should be listening to or waiting for in the next upcoming week or two?
Oh man, what my boy name is that good? Oh, and B, what boy name? Jivion?
Yeah,
Man,
Giveon.
hey, go check that out.
Yeah,
Right now, man. You
yeah,
know what I'm
Giveon
saying?
it.
Hey, go check that man out right now. You want some cool laid back vibes, man? Just sit around, like my boy say, better clear your mind and just, you know what I'm saying, rock out, man. Hey, I definitely recommend that's one for y'all to take with y'all.
Yeah, Giveon is definitely one of my favorite people. The Giveon, my boy XL Scholar, who also does R&B and he raps a bit. And Sir, y'all listen to Sir?
I like Sir.
Oh,
I like Sir. Yeah, I like Sir.
Those three right there.
Black too. I like Black. I like.
Oh yeah, Black. Come on, Black. Yeah, Black.
Black, legend, man.
Black go hard for sure. For sure. So yeah, I would say, definitely check out that Giveon for sure.
Yeah,
sure. And then we'll wrap up, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And like I said, every week we'll have, from here on out, we'll have a guest to come in and kind of introduce you to their world. You know, people from the medical field, whether it's a doctor or people from law, attorneys, people from our world who are actors, directors, people from the music industry. We'll have people coming in from different walks of life to kind of give advice to our platform and, you know, the people tuning in. So yeah, definitely thank y'all and definitely tune in for what's to come. And we'll end every episode with the gem of elevation, right? And that'll be either a quote, it could be an article, or it could be what Representative Gray said earlier could have been the gem of elevation, you know,
yes,
for the healthcare, you know. But for the gem of elevation in episode 1, it's just a simple quote that I tell people all the time. And this is for people who maybe don't like what's going on in their life, they don't like what's going on at work, whatever the case may be. But it's hard to be angry or depressed and show gratitude at the same time. It's basically impossible, you know, to be angry and show gratitude. So we all know that, you know, gratitude leads to attitude. You know, gratitude controls your attitude. So the quote is, don't count your days, but instead make your days count. And basically what that means is those people who wake up on Monday and they're like, oh, I hate Monday, I can't wait till Friday. And they just count every day. Oh, it's Tuesday, I can't wait till Friday. And basically they go through their entire lives living for Friday. And, you know, they're letting Monday through Thursday just be days where they're going through the motions and they're not making those days count. So yeah, if you don't count your days and you just make your days count and you wake up every day with that mindset. And another thing that to go on top of that layer is, you know, don't say what you have to do, say what you get to do. So don't wake up on Monday and say, hey, I have to go to work. Just say, hey, I get to go to work, because 2020 showed us nothing is promised. You know, not one thing. So the gem of elevation, don't count your days, but instead make your days count. That's it from us. Appreciate y'all tuning in. The EYG Roundtable Podcast. We'll catch y'all next time. It's been a blessing. At the end of every podcast, we're going to make Representative Gray, we're going to make you say this every time, right? Until next time, stay elevated.
Until next time, stay elevated and namaste.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we out, man.